please welcome from the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, ChelseaThomas.
We have to do an obligatory mic check.
Do we want to?
No, he's here. We're good.
Thank you, Mike. We have no idea if we're recording this or not, but it doesn't really matter because it's science, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Chelsea, you have a very interesting background. Your original degree was in what area?
Environmental psychology.
So what is environmental psychology?
I studied the way that people's relationships with nature affect their well-being, especially children, studying whether inner-city children have any effects from not having that same connection to nature, and whether the sense of being part of an ecosystem affects people later on.
Oh, okay. So it's important for children. Is it important for adults? I mean, Lou gets a
Absolutely.
lot of anxiety over storms, tornadoes. He's like, ah!
I do? Oh, I do, yeah. I hate hurricanes.
It is growing. It's a growing field
Okay.
that I'm not really a part of anymore.
Okay. So, but in addition to what you're going to share with us later, which is going to be very interesting, because later we're going to talk about, well, just a minute, we're going to talk about edible insects.
Yes.
You had mentioned to me before that actually insects are actually a really good teaching tool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I use insects with a lot of different kids. I like to bring them into the classroom to illustrate different concepts. I also use insects in group therapy settings with special needs children, especially children on the spectrum. I find them very helpful for conquering fears, especially. They're something that's going to be part of your life. They are going to be part of life, and you can either be terrified of them or not, but you're going to see them. So the more good exposure and positive experiences you can have, the better that's going to play out.
So that young kids with anxieties, phobias, the nice controlled environment of a large scary insect inside of a glass or plastic container works okay.
Very well, yeah. I've especially worked with phobias and trying to get them more specific so that instead of being afraid of all bugs in the whole world, which is a lot, you can say I'm
Just
afraid of flies. Yeah, or cockroaches.
So notice my insistence upon the constraining cage made out of plastic or glass. Are we going to see any insects here?
Oh yes, I have brought you several surprises.
Shall we bring them out?
Well, we'll do that after the band.
Okay, I thought we were just going to do the edible insects after the band. Okay, that's all right.
We'll do the whole
I have
thing.
no problem doing that.
We're going to do all the bugs at once.
Okay. All right. So, well, then let's talk a little bit about insects. And one of the things that you are involved in is edible insects.
Yes. Edible insects are something that 2 billion people on Earth are already eating on a daily basis. They're an important part of a lot of diets. A lot of insects contain all 9 essential amino acids, that's full proteins. They contain more iron than spinach. 30% of the world is suffering from anemia of some kind, so... Yeah, there are a lot of reasons, but you can get into the details online.
But so,
later.
are there
Yeah.
some insects that are better to eat than others, or are all insects edible?
No, I in no way recommend that anybody go home, go into their backyard, turn over some rocks, and start shoving things into their face. I absolutely.
We're going to edit that.
Well, you should know.
No way recommend. ChelseaThomas recommend.
If it moves, eat it.
So what would be an example? Because I know they have a lot of protein. You mentioned that they have, nutritional value. What would be an example of insect that we should not eat?
Centipede would be poisonous. Don't eat that.
No poisonous.
Don't do that. Bad
Now,
idea.
you raise bugs for the botanical garden, right?
Yes, I
Like
do.
all the amphibians there have a special diet. And are frogs picky?
Some of them are. Actually, we do raise insects from their homelands. The blue frogs of Suriname, which is one of the exhibits we have at Botanical Gardens, we actually raise special cockroaches from Suriname. They're awesome. They're parthenogenic. There are no males. They're pretty cool. Smartest species.
All female cockroaches?
Yeah. There are debates on how many different species they actually are.
Are they GMO or something?
We probably don't have time to go quite into it, but they're pretty cool. Yeah, we raise different bugs for the different frogs, and they all have their own preferences.
So, before we talk about why that's not particularly popular in the United States, let me query the audience. Make some noise if you're a big fan of eating insects. good one.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that many people in our audience were liars.
I'm not 100% of those
Does Chelsea make you guys eat insects?
Yes.
Does she like bring them for Thanksgiving?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And here's the yams, and I put a little surprise in there. Wow.
Our turkey is stuffed with maggots this year.
I'll never it again. Thank you for that.
All right.
So actually, but we do have one thing in common, that we're actually familiar with a group of Georgia Tech students who have a company called Grubbly Farms that actually came out, the innovation and entrepreneurship sort of environment at Georgia Tech.
I
How did you hear
absolutely
about that?
love those guys.
Yeah.
They're working with an insect that is particularly interesting, the black soldier fly larva. It goes by Kelsey worm in the store. That's what you'll see it called.
Oh, really?
It is in
Wait, what
every
store
pet
with
smart,
the pet store? Okay,
every
that's
pet
good.
co. It will
So it's not
have
in Kroger.
in a little refrigerator containers of Kelsey worms because they have hundreds of times more calcium than any kind of meat, more than spinach, more than broccoli. They have a really unbelievable amount of calcium in there, but they can also grow on anything. And a lot of the good things about bugs are that they can provide multiple services. Silkworms feed all the factory workers. You can live on rice and silkworm larvae. They also
Who
provide
hasn't?
silk.
We've all been grad students, am I right?
So these larvae, they provide waste management. They can live on your compost from farm animals or on food scraps. And in this case, Grubbly Farms, they are using food scraps from Kennesaw University and from a few Atlanta restaurants. And they're converting that food waste that would go to the landfill into usable food for chickens, which is a lot more environmentally sustainable than the fish meal that is often used for chicken food. And one day I truly believe that these calcium worms will be food for humans as well, but I'm glad that they're tackling one step that process.
So, lots of protein, lots of iron, lots of calcium, nutritionally very, very good.
B12
right.
for our vegan.
And they fit very well sort of into the biosphere, right? Because they get rid of our waste as well. Basically, the only big thing to tackle would be the cultural thing, and we're going to get your family out. Any thoughts on that? No?
If it's
Yeah,
for
we're
a couple of
on the
experiences.
forefront of
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Is it
Another
really?
cayenne
A
pepper,
couple
you're
of
good.
experiences?
Oh yeah.
All right, there you have it. Only 2 experiences, ladies and gentlemen. You too will be eating black soldier fly larvae? Is that what it's called?
Well, let's not forget that just a few decades ago, sushi was weird. And hundreds of years ago,
Still weird.
lobster
Look.
was the cockroach of the sea.
Yeah.
There was a law in the 1600s in Massachusetts that you couldn't feed prisoners lobster more than twice a week because that was cruel and unusual.
Yes.
So clearly, arthropods.
Wish I was a prisoner in the 1600s.
Right? Lobster every day.
Okay, so thank you very much for that very interesting sort of tour of insects. We're going to take a quick break here.
Yeah, let's hear from the band.
And we're going to come back.